If a church is a gynecological church, if they preach only or mostly to the men in the congregation, but not equally as much to the women to that same degree, if they harshly, strictly preach to, reprimand, rebuke only or mostly the men in the congregation regarding sexual immorality, but not equally as much to the women to that same degree, if they strictly, extensively, biblically edify only or mostly the men in the congregation regarding the role and responsibilities of being a godly man or a godly husband, but not equally as much to the women regarding the role and responsibilities of being a godly woman or a godly wife to that same degree, if they cut corners of any kind when it comes to preaching to the women in the congregation and being specific about their sins, exposing women's hidden nasty sins, calling women out on their sins, preaching biblical accountability to women, most especially if they do that same trick of cherry-picking only the less harsher verses about nagging, but skip the verses about sexually immoral women, and staying silent and not mentioning some of the sinful things women do, not just about sexual immorality, but initiating divorces and thus ruining the lives of their own children and such. And also, if the church preaches all those things and edifies both the men and the women in the congregation, but in a generalized, vague, unisex way, then that's not a church. That's a den of thieves who are enabling and fostering the congregations made up of gynolaters, idolaters. There's no point to go to such a place and fellowship with false preachers, false men of God, and with that kind of congregation who are gynolaters, idolaters. Most especially, it would be a blasphemous mockery of God Jesus Christ and the Lord's Supper to take part in the Lord's Supper with such unrepentant people in such a church. It's just like a bunch of swindlers orchestrating the Lord's Supper and a bunch of prostitutes taking part in it. Would you go to such a place for worship? Would you take part in the Lord's Supper with such unrepentant people? In what way will it be considered fellowship, and of what kind?